Hey, Ranger buddies, welcome to this month's Transition Tuesday webinar. We hope if you're an active duty Ranger out there, you're either getting some block leave or some rest and recovery with family. If you've already transitioned, this will be a great lesson for you as well, because Warrior Scholar Project is something that every Ranger leader needs to know about it, because what we're going to find is for a great majority of our guys getting out, especially going to higher ed, this needs to be in the toolkit. This needs to be a program that's a checklist item that we determine whether or not that our Rangers fit. So it is a blessing to have Geoff Byrne from Warrior Scholar Project with us today. Geoff has been a participant at our Ranger for Life seminars. He has meshed great with our population. And Geoff, would you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, right? Let's build the trust, right? And then we'll get into Warrior Scholar Project.
Sounds good, Tony. And thanks so much to Three Rangers Foundation for having me on, giving me the opportunity to spread the good news across the 75th Ranger Regiment. So again, my name is Geoff Byrne. I spent 7 years in the Army as an EOD tech. And my journey to Warrior Scholar Project really began a few years before I transitioned out. I had a buddy who was saying, hey, you should check out this program, about transitioning into college, something or other. I wasn't ready to get out yet. I ended up PCSing to Korea, was there for about 15 months. Towards my time finishing up in Korea, I decided to get out, transition into academics. And one of the first things I did when I got out was participate in a Warrior Scholar Project academic boot camp at the University of Pennsylvania. And I can get a little bit into that, Tony, what an actual academic boot camp is. It's basically an immersive college prep program. Another way to describe this is you could say it's pre-deployment training for college. Another really good way to highlight it is this is like your FMP, like your full mission profile, so to speak, before you transition into that classroom for the first time. What Warrior Scholar Project does with these academic boot camps, we take about 10 or 15 enlisted military veterans. So we service the enlisted community, not the officer community. No offense to officers, but about 10 to 15 military veterans from the enlisted community. You can be on active duty and still do this program. You're going to go out to one of our approximately 20 partner campuses across the country. You're going to spend a week there doing about a 70-hour deep dive into one of 3 academic disciplines, which we can get dialed in on later, depending on your academic interests.
We will. I want to go back to you real quick, right? Because I always find it interesting in folks' stories who go to college after service, right? Because I'm a child of the 80s. I'm a little bit older than you. So I remember the be all you can be in this GI Bill. And there was a time where that was a major recruiting draw, but it wasn't necessarily used. So first, thank you for your service as an EOD tech. Man, yours are made of brass. I'll just put it that way. And we appreciate that, especially everyone in my community. There comes a time where we don't want to go anywhere without you, brother. So thank you for that. Second, what was your education story? So were you a high school into the Army? Because you mentioned Penn, right? Like they won't let me on the campus of Penn.
Right.
I don't think, unless I'm working at a Starbucks or something like
and
that.
They weren't going to let me on either, Tony, with that Warrior Scholar Project. So to
So
be fair, I didn't.
tell me about it
Yeah.
then. How did that evolve?
Right. So I joined the Army when I was 18 years old, like just a few months after I turned 18. I graduated high school barely with a 1.4 grade point average. I had so many absences, Tony, from high school. I had to get some sort, I don't remember exactly, some sort of special authorization. So some negotiation that was taking place in order to get me across that stage. So went right from high school, barely skidded by, right into the Army, 7 years in EOD. And while I was on active duty, took some college classes, just a few, got a little bit of a transcript underneath me. But as far as going to Warrior Scholar Project goes at University of Pennsylvania, this was one of our 1-week boot camps. So I did not attend University of Pennsylvania as a student. But that was initially what got me onto the campus, because after 7 years, I had a little bit of online schooling through American Military University, as I'm sure many folks are familiar with that. and I had my 1.4 grade point average from high school. I had not been in a classroom since I was 17, 18 years old. I'm getting out of the Army and now 20, 26, I think, around there. And getting into the classroom at UPenn was like a shock.
Well, let's talk about that. Go back again. What was that impetus for you learning about it? Was it someone at the education center? I forget. Or was that a friend? How
Yeah.
did that happen?
So I had a buddy a couple years before I got out let me know about the program. I wasn't ready to get out of the Army yet. But when I got out, I remembered, I was like, hey, what's this Warrior Scholar Project thing? I ended up signing up for the program, really having very little idea about what it was at the time, other than it was going to be an immersive college prep program. And that's what led me to just basically show up on campus, be like, hey, I'm here to see what this is all about. And we spent a 70-hour week there at University of Pennsylvania.
So I wonder, was it something in your military experience? So what got you across the goal line? Because there's good ideas everywhere. And there's 50,000 veteran support organizations, many of them awesome, that can help. But you actually took that risk of doing it. Like, what was that decision-making process where you decided, man, I could really benefit from getting reblued versus like, now show up on campus, I'll kind of wing it a little bit.
So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer because like I said, I had a buddy who was familiar with the program. He just said, hey, listen, this is like the best thing since sliced bread. You got to go try this out. It's free, right? I was a free opportunity to spend a week at an amazing school and get knowledge transfer from professional academics and tutors that are on the campus. So for me, I was very excited to go. I was like, oh, they're gonna hook me up with this. This is like unheard of that this opportunity is available. So I was psyched. I was psyched to go. For me, that impetus to actually go towards higher education was, again, I had a buddy who had made that transition before me, and he was encouraging me, along the way, because I was not fully committed to getting out of the Army. It was very much a difficult decision for me to, leave behind my EOD community and transition out, into the civilian world. But after hearing about the opportunities, in college and on the campus, and that whole experience of being a full-time student, utilizing the full extent of the GI Bill and what that has to offer, that was very enticing for me. When I circled back to Warrior Scholar Project, I was like, hey, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to go do this and get actually prepared for the rigors of college after having been out of the classroom for so many years.
So let's jump into the meat then. Let's talk about the boot camp, right? Your major what you do at Warrior Scholar Project, the major item that you do. This can be found on your webpage, of course. And then as you talk about it, talk to me about like then what is successful planning? Like, when should people be looking? When are the colleges where they can go announced? What's a great timeline to put this in a transition plan?
Gotcha. So again, our academic boot camp, another way to look at this is like a full mission profile for college. You are going to fly or drive out to our campus. You're going to get in processed, so not our campus, one of our 20 campus partners, excuse me. You're going to go out to the campus. You're going to get in process. They're going to get you squared away with a temporary student ID. You're going to get housing on campus. And the first night, you're going to start in working on your assignments, whether that is in the humanities field, which is centered on academic writing. You can take a STEM course, which is focused on math and physics. And you could take a business and entrepreneurship course, which is not a course to help you start your own business, but a course that is going to prepare you for the fundamentals of a business-related degree program. And so throughout the week at each of these programs, you're going to be working with professors from the university. So let's say you go to Yale for our 1 week program. You're going to be working with professors from Yale. You're going to be working with tutors from Yale. And in the case of the humanities program, you're going to be working with writing tutors. In the case of the STEM program, you'll be working with research project leaders, who are folks that are going to help guide folks through a science research project over the course of the week. And for the business program, of course, you'll be working with folks from the business school. In addition to the staff members provided by the host campus, you're also going to be working with a team of Warrior Scholar Project fellows. Our folks, our seasonal employees that we bring in, we've got about 20 full-time staff members. We bring about 30 to 35 seasonal employees in, all of whom are military veterans who have successfully transitioned from whatever branch of service they were in into academics. They're going to be in various stages of their journey. So you may have one person on the instructor team. All right, they're a junior in their undergrad. We may have another in a PhD program, another has completed their undergrad, and they're doing this for a opportunity to give back to the community as well as earn some summer pay. That's always good. And shameless plug, this is an opportunity. You go through this program, this makes you eligible for that position in the future to interview for this job, to go back and help facilitate our boot camp. So that's the sort of the complete life cycle, so to speak, that we like to see. But regards to your question on how to get ready for this and how to plan strategically, academically, there's no preparation that's required for the course. So everything that you need to succeed during the course, you're going to get that when you arrive. This is a very challenging course. It's designed that way. Again, I mentioned a 70-hour week is very typical. However, it's accessible to all skill levels, right? We want this to be a challenge, but we want people to have a crawl, walk, run sort of experience when they're going through the course. So that's the academic prep side, none required. As far as when should people start thinking about this, it's really situation dependent, right? And I hope you weren't afraid that I was going to say that, but it is. So we typically catch people, for instance, when they are on the tail end of their contract, they're looking at getting out, maybe they're on terminal leave. We also catch folks while they're still on active duty. They may have a few years left. It's really going to be up to you, and I'm going to explain why here in a sec. Also, we serve a great number of veterans who have already transitioned out of the military, who are in community college. They're looking at transitioning to a 4-year degree program. They want to get prepared for that intensity, so they'll come through a course. We have folks who have been out of the military for over 10 years come through our course, right? We're all over the place, but the typical demographic that we see are folks who are about to get out, or they've been in community college for a period of time, and they're looking to transfer to a 4-year degree and prepare for that through Warrior Scholar Project. Now, going back to why the it depends piece is because let's say you've got a few years left on your contract, right? And you're saying, well, I'm not going to get out of the Army or whatever the case may be for a few years. Why would I go to Warrior Scholar Project now? I would want those skills to be fresh in my mind when I make that leap into academics as soon as I get out. Well, the Warrior Scholar Project Alumni Network is a reason you might want to pull the trigger earlier on this and get involved in the program sooner. Our alumni network at this point is over 2,000 strong, and there is a significant number of 75th Ranger Regiment veterans in our alumni network who are very active in the community. In fact, last summer we had the former program manager of the Phalanx program come through our Amherst College humanities course. So for all you Rangers out there, there's a strong Ranger community within our alumni network. So the advantages of that, you're a couple years out, go through one of our summer programs, and now you have this community to engage with continually while you are preparing for that transition. So you're thinking about your school list. We use Slack as our messaging platform for our alumni. You'll be given access to our Slack channel, put messages in there. Hey, I'm looking at considering Duke, Notre Dame, Ohio State, whatever school. Are any Warrior Scholar Project alumni out there? Any Rangers out there? You're going to have people replying, oh, I'm over here. Oh, I know a guy over there. What's the admission process like, right? What are some things, I should be looking out for? What's the vibe like on campus for veterans, right? All these questions you can ask to help guide your decision-making process. Tony, like I said, the reason that I consider I had a pretty successful transition. And that was because I had a buddy who was giving me that intel ahead of me, right? He was reporting back, hey, here's what you got to look out for. Here's the benefits of going this way. Hey, I know a guy over here, go talk to him to get some information about that. So that's the advantage of going earlier. You're going to have access to that alumni network sooner, right? If you're looking to hone in more on the academic skills piece, you want that to be fresh, maybe wait a little bit. If you're dialing in when you're going to matriculate into college and you want to try and time that with a Warrior Scholar Project program, by all means, wait. You can transition out, get your feet under your community college, then come through our program. It's going to be beneficial to you no matter what time you attend our program. But typically, we see folks come through, hey, you're getting to the tail end of your active duty obligation, come through a Warrior Scholar Project boot camp. Then that's always my best advice, because it's a springboard for additional resources and additional community through our program. Going through one of these academic boot camps is really just the beginning of what you're going to be getting out of the experience.
I appreciate that, Geoff. And what we've seen over Warrior Scholar Project's lifespan is just the increase in the amount of opportunities and locations to go. I mean, you're talking everything from T5, T10 schools to extremely respectable major land grant universities as well. So I think what makes this program is so great is that someone could, with planning, look at doing this during a block leave cycle, depending on, which of the three program type that they're doing, and very easily fit this in. For the Rangers out there, please be aware, ensure you're talking to your Ranger transition counselor and education counselors during the way. There are multiple Ranger support organizations that will pay for your travel after completion. So the only cost with the Warrior Scholar Project that I'm aware of is you just got to get there. And once you get there, I mean, the lights are on, the chow's like you're good. But if you complete that course, you notify a couple of organizations, we will take care of that travel, because I'll show you why. Geoff, you're not on here because this program sucks and it's a good idea. You're on here because it works, right? Like numbers matter, because numbers represent people going through your program. For somebody who might be on the fence and wondering if that's for me, kind of talk through what these numbers mean from Warrior Scholar Project's perspective.
Yeah, so really, I mean, the other number too is that our number of veterans who would recommend this program to another veteran just increased this past summer to 99%, up from 98%. So we were running pretty good on there. We're looking to get to 100. But we can see here that, sometimes when people look at the prestige of the universities that we partner with. So we partner with a number of Ivy League universities, Tony, like you mentioned, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Cornell, others as well. And so I think, well, like I had a 1.4 grade point average in high school. Like, what am I going to do, at Harvard, right? They're not going to, this is not for me, right? This is exactly for you, right? This is for you. This is why we exist at Warrior Scholar Project. We're looking to help build that skill set and get you ready for the next step. So as far as I think there was a number on there, 65 or it was our 58%, our first generation college students, right? Over half. Additionally, looking at the Diana Davis Spencer program, another highlight of our alumni network, which we can get into a little bit later, talking about additional benefits to our alumni. But again, 88% completed or on track to complete. I mean, the numbers are outstanding and really highlight the effectiveness of what we're doing.
And it goes back to planning, right? I try to tell Rangers the most powerful thing I have is someone who comes to my office. They leave battalion, they make the time, they tell their leadership where they're going, hopefully, right? To sit in there and have that meeting. It's like, I have got somebody who is assessed to be in special operations, right? Who hasn't been RFS, right? They're legally, ethically, and morally have figured it out for long enough, who is asking for help. And that is the type of individual you want. I found the longer we spend in our career, when we look at our mentors, it's those folks who, when they don't have the right answer or they see the gap, They don't feel what the answer is. They find the best person to give them advice on what the answer should be. And that's what Warrior Scholar Project fills for anybody in doubt. Not only are you going to show them that they can make it, you're going to give them the skills to make it. And so I want to kind of, as we get ready to close out here, I want to give you an opportunity, besides the academic boot camps, of anything else that you want to bring up that just being part of the program will enhance for them, whether in school or after.
Yeah. So on that note, Tony, really, I'll highlight again that this program is a springboard for so many people, and realizing really what's possible for their future outside of the military. First, we can address that there's a lot of negative stigma out there regarding the transition. That's out there. It's a reality. You say, oh, well, you can expect this kind of hardship, right? You're going to have run into this and that with the VA. Oh, there's no jobs out there, right? Creating this negative sort of situation, right? And there's organizations out there whose entire professional existence surrounds helping veterans in their transition, such as Warrior Scholar Project. So first, that interaction with Warrior Scholar Project that a participant has is going to dispel a lot of those myths. Like, oh, wow, there actually are people out there that care about me. That was my reaction. Coming from 7 years in the Army, you're just kind of a, I was an E5 when I got out, but just a cog in the war machine. I'm sometimes it can feel that way, right? When you're down there on the totem pole. And then when I got out, this program realized, wow, these professors are really invested in my success. The instructor team, other veterans they care about me, right? Which in my mind thought, well, what else is out there, right? And we've got other organizations. We work with Service to School, another outstanding nonprofit organization that facilitates admissions. They have an outstanding program called VetLink, VET Link. I would highly recommend anybody who is looking to pursue an undergraduate degree after they get out of the Army to go check them out. And then again, the alumni network. You are going to meet people at this course, and you're going to be connected with people, to 2,000 people at this point, who have gone through our program, and they're ready to help the next generation of people coming through. Because going through this thing kind of it does have a bonding effect with people. You spend that week with that group, 10 to 15 other veterans, right? And we see people are a little, at the beginning, they're a little hesitant, right? People can start to get a little clicky. Oh, this guy was my MOS. I'm gonna go hang out with him. And then by the end of the week, right? And people have been working together through the whole week, and you're building those relationships with people who otherwise you would not have contact with, right? Working with people, across all branches and all military occupational specialties who you would otherwise not have built a relationship and had contact with. And like, oh, actually, this person has the same goal that I do. We both want to go into XYZ industry. I'm gonna keep in touch with them, right? And it's that initial springboard outside of your comfort zone as well, right? There's a lot of steps that you have to take as a person to just, to attend our program. Not to say that our application process is complicated and lengthy, right? But you've got to put your skin in the game for that plane ticket, for that gas money. You've got to take a week of your time to commit to doing this. So you're going to have to take that first step, independently. We can show you the door, everybody watching and all of our future participants, our future alumni, you just got to walk through the door, right? And this transition process. You can have your buddy who's helping you out. That's great. That's fantastic. But you've got to go and reach out and grab the resources that are here, because nobody's really going to deliver them to you, right? So that's the biggest thing, is this can propel people, because you come through one of our courses, you really get that experience of saying, wow, I just read about this on the website, talking about, maybe working with tutors or doing academic papers or something, and staying at the dorms at Princeton. And all of a sudden you're now sitting in the dorms in Princeton, doing your reading assignments. You're like, this is actually a real program. That's one of the things that we run to. It's kind of funny when we hear some participant stories, especially in years past, where like, hey, I didn't know what I was getting into coming here, but be advised, we are real. So that's what I'd say about that, Tony.
Geoff, thank you so much for being here. Once again, you're here because your program works. It's worked for Rangers before. The Regimental Sergeant Major Christopher Masters. We talk pretty frequently, and what a great man to be on the command team of our Ranger Regiment. And he says, show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. Right? It's been said before, but it's one that Chris and I have talked about. Right? So as you leave Ranger Regiment, Ranger buddies, you need to think about, how can I develop relationships then that will get me where I want to be? You're not taking advantage of everything. You're just maximizing an opportunity. Because like you said, Geoff, this ecosystem that you become involved in, you'll end up giving back. So yes, there's a little bit of taking from, but it's a virtuous cycle where you will have the opportunity to serve others. I love the servant leadership model, really, that is Warrior Scholar Project. Geoff, thank you so much for being here. We wish you and yours a Merry Christmas up there in New England. We look forward to seeing you at the next Ranger for Life Symposium. We can't wait to see you there. I think 175 is next on the docket in March. So we very much look forward to having you there, and Rangers should be prepared to come to you with questions. Thank you again.
Thank you, Tony. See you later.
You got it, Geoff. All right, Rangers. Be well. Take care of yourself this holiday season. Look up the Warrior Scholar Project. Check out the academic boot camp. Get your questions answered. Humanities, STEM, business, some of the best universities, great opportunities to visit and see what higher education is for you. And like we said, the numbers just show that this program and the folks that you will meet will enrich your experience. Take advantage, plan early, plan often. Have a great evening and Merry Christmas. Rangers lead the way.